I built a custom loop with zero experience and it was one of the most fun, not to mention stressful experiences ever building a PC. So with the help of both AlphaCore and Thermal Grizzly, this is how I built my ultimate gaming rig. You might be sat there thinking custom loops in 2025 and maybe even 2026 are a bit pointless. No, they're not. You still get better cooling potential with them, albeit the law of diminishing returns starts to set in, but that's not the only reason I'm doing this. I've never done a custom loop before and I wanted to see what the hype's about. So I went out and bought a deleted 9800X 3D solely for this purpose. And Thermal Grizzly's Micro Direct Die Pro for AM5 is perfect for a build like this, and when they and AlphaCore agreed to send parts over for this build, I thought, yeah, now is the right time to do this. Building out the motherboard is like any other gaming PC for the most part, because we've got to remove the ILM. We're not using this. The Micro Direct Die acts as both the cooling block and the retention mechanism for the processor. And speaking of which, we didn't go with liquid metal. Yes, I'm going against what a Thermal Grizzly engineer recommended here, but we're not using an ordinary thermal paste. We've gone with Thermal Grizzly's Duranaut. It's a more durable thermal paste and it's more resistant to pump out, not impervious to it, but I've used it on GPUs like the RTX 3080 in the past and it's got on relatively decently there over a long period of time as well. Whether or not this will translate to a 9800X 3D, I'm not too sure. We'll check back in a few months' time. Other than that, we've gone with 64GB of 6000 mega transfer CL36, which definitely costs a lot these days. Yeah, RAM is kind of just crazy right now, but we needed the high capacity for video editing. 32GB of RAM here is not fun at all, believe me. Before we even assemble the loop, outside of the case, we tested to see if it boots, and it boots just fine, which is great. Now for the part I'm not too familiar with, building out the loop. Initially I wanted to go with 90 degrees on the block and decided against it in the end because the runs I wanted to do just kind of didn't make sense with them. So we've gone straight with the Thermal Grizzly Deltamate fittings in the block. These are compression fittings for soft tubing like AlphaCore's EPDM, which is super easy to work with as soon as you get used to it, because initially trying to get it over the bar with the fittings is kind of difficult, but as soon as you know how to do it one time, you're set for the rest of them. So yeah, it's really not too hard once you get the gist of it. But as long as you make it run long enough, which we've done more than enough on quite a few of our runs, you're going to be totally fine. Even then, I still love the look of this black tubing in this PC. It gives it more of a industrial sort of engine bay theme, I guess is the best way to put it. Either way, I absolutely love how this PC looks. Also, by the way, if you want to pick anything up that we've used in today's video, it will all be linked in the description below with my Amazon affiliate links. I do make a small kickback if you purchase anything through these links at no extra cost to you. Every custom loop needs a reservoir, and as we've got a more compact build in the Lee & Lee Landcore 217, which is a fantastic looking case by the way, a more compact res will make a lot of sense here, like AlphaCore's Rise Flat 120mm, so it doesn't take up too much space and it's got plenty of G1/4 inch threads. And we finally used those 90-degree fittings at the bottom of this as that just makes the most sense. The tubing runs, if we didn't use these, would have been absolutely, well, kind of crazy, maybe impossible. And for a pro custom loop move, you're going to need an inline temperature sensor because you can run your radiator fans off it, and that's what we've done. And most importantly is the pump. This is the DDC 310 from AlphaCore and it's included with this reservoir, so that's great. I don't even need to put that in there as it's all a built unit, if that makes sense. But this pushes water into the radiator, and don't do what I did or didn't do, because in the excitement of building the loop, I didn't flush out the radiator. Now, this is absolutely necessary because after manufacturing, there's going to be a lot of just rubbish and gunk left in there. Not on AlphaCore and their Nexus ST30 radiator, this is a universal thing. And because I didn't clean out the radiator, I ran the loop for a few days and noticed this gunk building up at the top of the res, which was kind of alarming, so I did some research into it, and it can potentially block up your CPU or even GPU blocks, so I had to pull the loop apart. This took me an entire afternoon. I'd like to say it took quite a while, like 3 hours or something, mainly because I didn't fit a drain port to this loop. Big rookie mistake there. But we took the rad out and flushed it out with warm tap water. Yes, that's okay. and the amount of just rubbish that came out of it was kind of alarming. There were like little, I don't want to say metal fragments because they didn't loop metallic, but they might have just been left over like paint or something like that. I don't know what they were, and just other miscellaneous bits of rubbish. But after around 3 or 4 flushes, it was crystal clear. But with that clean, we can put the Noctua NF-A12s back on. These are the Chromax versions. They're some of my most favourite fans of all time, and the G2 models are coming out at some point in the near future, so we might have to change to those soon. Also, W Noctua for sending those out, and other fans, but more on that in a minute. But with all the loop back together for the second time, we flushed it out with deionized water for 15 minutes at a time, 2 times. Or we flushed it out twice for 15 minutes at a time. Now you can't leave this in as your base coolant because it is slightly corrosive, and yeah, you don't really want that. But I can confirm after 3 or 4 days of running this loop with multiple different cycles of video editing, being idle, being off, and just gaming, the loop is looking absolutely clear. But with that blunder out of the way, we can go back to before we even filled the loop. Initially, I used a leak tester. This is from XSPC, and it's a great way of checking if you've got any leaks in your system. All you got to do is pump it up to around 0.5 bar, and if the pressure stays there, you should be fine. But hey, it looked good for us, and this is the point where we fill it up. This is the most stressful part, even though I've got no power going through the system. A pro gamer move here is using not a third party power supply, that's not the right way to put it, a second power supply just to power the pump. Now you'll need like a jumper and stuff, but yeah, it's like a £5 purchase. It's really not expensive. Get a fill bottle as well. That's super easy for filling up the res. Fill it up to basically the fill port and then turn on the power supply. Don't run the pump dry. That will end up knackering it. You don't want to do that. And just repeat this cycle until the loop is fully circulating. Now you will see some air bubbles initially. That's perfectly fine. These will air out over time. So now that there's no leaks, we can hook up the PC like normal, and I even ran without a GPU for quite a bit because the graphics card that Gigabyte sent out to me is none other than the Aorus Master RTX 5090. Gigabyte were kind of brave letting me use this GPU in a custom loop, considering I've never built one before, but hey, it worked out. There's been no leaks and no explosions or anything like that, so that's great. And then some final last aesthetic adjustments to the PC, like the RGB strips, which add quite a bit of lighting. We do like our lighting here, as long as it's not flashy brain rot RGB. For those of you that absolutely hate Noctua's colours, they are an acquired taste, so I do kind of understand, even though I personally like them. But you like the performance, the NF-A14 G2s are the fans for you. Now I wanted to go with a more Chromax theme for this rig because the Noctua colours, I just couldn't really fit them in here. And if you're in the same boat as me with this, these fans are absolutely brilliant. They will easily provide enough airflow for the RTX 5090 and 9800X3D, so there's no problems there. And typical with Noctua, they're deadly silent. And a cable extension for the 24 pin because it just looks really nice and premium. After all, it's a super high-end PC, which is ready for 4K gaming. And speaking of which, Evney has sent out an insane gaming monitor. It's the 32M2N8900. Yes, I certainly didn't look over to my script to remember that product name. It's a 32-inch 4K 240Hz QD OLED. It is the perfect display for a gaming PC like this, and it's absolutely insane no matter whether you're video editing, watching YouTube, doom scrolling YouTube shorts, and most importantly, gaming, because playing titles like Battlefield 6, Ark Raiders, and hell, even Borderlands 2, which is a game that launched in 2012, which I'm playing through right now, it all looks great on this. The UI, the textures are incredibly sharp, and not to mention, it's a QD OLED. The vibrancy and the inky deep blacks are fantastic. I am working on a dedicated video for this monitor because it's just absolutely insane, and it's going to be a staple of the setup because it's just that good. Just like the temperatures on the CPU, now they're not too insanely low because at idle we're getting around the low 40s, which is kind of good for Ryzen because they kind of idle kind of hot. But in gaming, depending on the title, we can see anything between 50 and the mid 60s. If we're playing Battlefield 6, it's going to peak. And then for sanity's sake, I tested some Cinebench and we're peaking around the mid 70s here. Considering this is a load that's never really going to be put on the CPU, that's pretty good. It passes with flying colours. Whether or not we'll see these temps in a few months' time because of the thermal paste remains to be seen, but for now it's holding steady. I'll just keep an eye out for them. So, from an enthusiast standpoint, is a custom leap worth it? 100% yes. This has been one of the most fun PC building experiences I've ever had. At some points, very stressful, but overall, 100% worth it from a PC builder standpoint. I feel like I've accomplished a lot more with this PC build than I have since like my first ever gaming rig, so yeah, it's a huge thing. In terms of outright cooling performance, is it worth it? Probably not, because most AIOs and high-end air coolers will do a fantastic job of cooling most consumer CPUs, especially the X3D chips. They run not very hot. Well, that's a lie, they run hot, but they're not hard to cool, if that makes sense. So I'm 100% glad I did a custom leap. All I need to do is factor a graphics card into one at some point in the future. Maybe not the near, but some point in the future. So I want to say a huge thank you to Thermal Grizzly, AlphaCool, Noctua, and Aorus for sending out all the goodies for this build. And if you want to check any of them out, they will be linked in the description below with my Amazon affiliate links. I do make a small kickback from these, but it's at no extra cost to you. However, if you want to see a more conventional 4K gaming PC, you can check this one out up here. With that being said though, I'll catch you in the next one.